Thank you so much for being here as we explore this important topic, not often discussed much in our field. There are some corresponding handouts that go along with this training that you should have, and I'll be referencing those and pulling those up on the screen as we talk about them. We also have some video clips to share and some really great resources as we explore this important topic. So, as we begin what to look at our learning objectives, we're going to identify at least three critical issues in boys and men's mental health. We are going to describe appropriate methods of assessment and psychotherapy interventions for boys and men. And then we're going to explain the impact of social, cultural, psychological, and environmental influences on boys and men's mental health. So, my background in the field, as I've been in the field for about 30 years in a variety of different positions. I am not a man. And so I think one of the interesting things whenever we see training such as this, which are focused on a specific group, is looking at the viewpoint of the facilitator and the experience. And what I have found really interesting in preparing this training is what I learned about further in furthering my understanding of work with boys and men in particular. I do have experience specifically working with male clients. I was a co founder of a father's group for an early intervention program that I worked for about 15 years ago. And so, myself and two other coworkers, another female and another male coworker, founded a father's group. The program that we were operating in was serving parents. It was an early intervention program. The vast majority of parents that we worked with in our program that were engaged in our program were the mothers. And so we did not have a lot of interaction from fathers. And so we realized that and wanted to discover a way to engage them. And so we started a fathers group, which initially was quite a bit of work, looking at the logistical aspect and what the themes or topics would be, the roles of the facilitators, and what these groups would offer. And so we were able to offer those groups that continued after I left, but they were offered for about 2.5 years while I was there and reached over 300 fathers in the program that we were working in. And it was very interesting as a facilitator and as a creator of that program to um, interact with clients in that program that were fathers versus mothers and looking at their unique experiences and their identities being men and being fathers and being in the roles that they were in. So it was certainly not just for the fathers that were in the program, but also for all three of us facilitators, such a great learning experience to learn more about the mental health and the overall emotional and life experience of men. So as we begin, let's start with a case vignette. This is Don. Don is a welder. He's 41 years old and he's from a small rural town. He has been happily married to Joan for 18 years and they have three healthy boys. Don coaches his eldest son's football team and plays cricket in the town's C grade team. His friends describe him as a man's man, larger than life, gregarious, giving, and outgoing. 13 months ago, Don incurred a back injury on the job that kept him off work for 2 months. He had to stop playing cricket and coaching football. In the acute phase of his injury, Don required physical assistance from Joan, which he often commented was humiliating. Eventually, he attempted to resume welding, but recurring back pain meant he could only work intermittently. Because of this, Don would comment that he felt like a failure for not being able to look after his family in the way that a man should. Joan noticed that Don became increasingly irritable, angry, argumentative, and impatient. He began to drink a six-pack of beer each evening, along with a few shots of whiskey to help him sleep. He slept and ate more than usual. He was increasingly housebound and spent a lot of time on the internet researching self help back cures. He refused to socialize. Sexual intimacy disappeared from their marriage. Recognizing that Don was not his normal self, Joan suggested that he see their family doctor. Don would snap back, "What the hell can he do? My back is wrecked for good." Don would occasionally visit the doctor for checkups on his back, but he never disclosed other health concerns. Don grew more despondent and isolated. One Sunday, Don's wife and sons returned from church and found a note taped to the bedroom door. In it, Don explained how he felt useless and hopeless since his injury, that he was no longer a good man, husband, or father, but instead had become a burden. Joan found Don lying across the bed, dead from a self inflicted gunshot wound. So, this is a really extreme example and case study into some of the challenges that men may face with regard to their mental health, with regard to roles, with regard to stereotypes and expectations. And we see for Don, just like a lot of other men, that there's a lot of identity in their work and being able to provide for a family, being able to contribute as a husband, as a father, and as a man. And so when Don's identity was threatened in these areas, he really began to experience some challenges in his mental health that really began to feed off of his physical health problems, right? The back issues, the chronic pain that he was having, and there was this feedback loop between his physical condition and his mental health. I'll talk more in a minute about suicide with men, but it's important to note that this is a case of which we see that Don, and especially being a middle aged white male, falls into this category. The highest demographic for suicide is white males between the ages of 45 and 60. And so we see here that this particular age in a man's life, but then also, as you see with Dawn, some of the other life challenges that may come up can definitely make it difficult for people to cope.